Welcome to SuperTalk, the podcast that scratches your superhero itch. Just two suburban dads nerding out over superhero stuff on the small screen and the big. Buckle up, people. Enjoy the ride.
I'm Titanium Tony. This is Professor Pettis. Welcome to SuperTalk Podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Please have a drink on us. Not really, but yes, have a drink on us. And we're going to get ready. Professor, like a gentleman, are you ready?
I'm ready.
In 3.
Welcome to Super Talk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode number 100. Woo! All live at Guapos in Fair Lakes, Virginia. And we've got a huge audience here, probably 40 to 50. I think I counted like 45, 50 people. Oh my God.
Thank you, everybody.
Huge turnout here for our live episode, live recording of our 100th episode, Titanium 100. Can you believe it? We made it.
Unbelievable. This is awesome. Who would have known we would have done 100 episodes in just a 2-year period? But this one's special. So I'm looking forward to it, Professor. Thank you so much for being my partner in crime and putting up with me and all my paranoias about the show and whatnot, but I appreciate it, so thank you, brother.
Yeah, and I want to thank you too, Titanium. You put a lot of energy into the show and all these countless hours and editing the YouTube video every week, so it's been a sheer pleasure, and again, we're doing this because we love it, not because we're making any money.
We don't make any money, that's for sure. It's cost us more money than what we made.
That's for sure. Well, let's get the show started, and to start the show, we definitely have a ton of people to thank for everything we've done over the first 100 episodes. First and foremost, I want to thank the listeners that bring the show to you.
You guys.
Yeah, we have there's a website out there called Patreon, and Patreon is something we set up when we started the show. It allows our listening audience to support the show directly, and if you want to become a patron of the show, go to patreon.com/supertalk. It's how you become a patron, and these are now the listeners of the show that are donating $1 every time we come out with an episode. They're helping support the show. So we've had patrons all year long, and really appreciate everybody who's been part of that group. So thanks to the patrons.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, we really need to thank our families, and especially our wives, for putting up with us for doing this for 2 years now, 100 episodes. I mean, we're missing family, events and, getting together every week for a couple of hours to make sure that we're putting this out. We want to thank our wives, Betsy and Nancy. Thanks for all the support that you've given us over the past 100 episodes, for sure.
Thank you, Betsy and Nancy. Thank you so much. A round of applause for the wives and families, please.
We also want to thank the sponsors who've actually supported the show
throughout the years.
Yeah, we've had, for the first 100 episodes, we've had a number of different sponsors that have directly helped support the show, specifically Studio GG Studios, Home of the Man Band, Corn on the Cob. They've been our biggest sponsor and our biggest supporter, have done a ton of work for us in getting the show off the ground, wrote our theme song, helped with a lot of the graphics and support, so really appreciate everything Studio G's done for us. Thank you, Studio G. Secondly, we want to thank Preston's Pharmacy. I know Franco Day's in the house here.
Franco Day!
Preston's Pharmacy.
Preston Pharmacy.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for supporting the show.
Earlier supporter of the show, so we really appreciate Preston Pharmacy's support. BSB Apparel. We had a nice little kickback from BSB. They're a lifestyle brand, so if you're interested in cool hats, cool shirts, go check out BSB Apparel. They were a big supporter of ours as well. Along with Gooder Sunglasses. Gooder really came on board to help support the show as well. If you guys haven't tried Gooder sunglasses, you need to go out and check them out. The most affordable pair of really good sunglasses.
$25, $35 non-slip sunglasses.
They're awesome.
Gooder sunglasses.
They have themed sunglasses, including this pair of Spider-Man sunglasses that I have right here. They're awesome. So go check them out. Gooder.com. GOODR.com. Go check those guys out.
Very good. Excellent.
We also want to thank the places that have hosted our live events.
Yeah.
Right? So we've done 3 of these shows live. Mustang Sally's in Chantilly, Virginia. Our first live event done there.
Thank you, Mustang Sally's.
For our anniversary episode. We did a live show out at Bear Chase Brewing Company.
Bear Chase Brewery, yep.
Yeah, out in Bluemont, Virginia. We did one episode out there, so we want to thank them. And we also want to thank Guapos for hosting us today.
Guapos, hey, give it up for Guapos! Thank you so much, Guapos, for hosting us. We're kind of a pain in the ass, and we're interrupters, that's for sure, for the business, but thank you so much for having us. Please, tip your waiters and your bartenders, be generous. Thank you so much.
And finally, we want to thank the listening audience and the viewing audience, those of you out there on YouTube, everybody who downloads the podcast and listens every week. I know a big friend of the show who's here today, Greg Byer, says, I can't wait for you guys to release this episode every week. I listen to it on my way to work.
Greg Byer.
So we want to thank everybody who downloads the podcast, listens, everybody who goes to YouTube and watches the video. It really does support us, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much to all our fans, family, and anybody who subscribed and liked the YouTube show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great. All right, well, let's jump into the show. We'll start with some news, and this is what we do every week to cover some of the news topics. And we did a big topic of the week for our last episode in regards to the James Gunn kind of takeover of DC and what's going on with Warner Brothers. Some big things happened since our last episode.
Yeah.
We had some massive confirmations of some stuff that happened. First, Henry Cavill came out on his social media and confirmed that he was not returning as Superman. There will not be a Man of Steel 2. He is no longer going to be part of the DC universe. So that was a huge announcement for him to come out and confirm. And James Gunn the same day came out and made a similar announcement confirming that Henry Cavill will not be coming back.
Yeah, so when James Gunn and Peter Safran took over DC, they're shaking things up. We're not going to get Henry Cavill. We're not going to get some of the people that we really love in those roles. And I'm all for it. I think a hard reboot is what it needs. I think that's what people need for the hard reboot. And I think it's a good thing. Now, he has since come out and said that we might still have some of the original DC characters, like Gal Gadot. We might still see them in the DC universe, as it's now called, DC Studios. But I think a hard reboot is what needs to happen, and I'm okay with it.
Well, yeah, James Gunn did confirm that they were coming out with a younger version of Superman. They were going to do something very similar to what Matt Reeves did with Batman and do kind of the Superman year 2. So they were focusing on a younger version of Superman. So that's one reason why Henry Cavill didn't fit into those plans. Zachary Levi came out just recently on social media, made a statement saying that there's been nothing about the Shazam character and his version of Shazam and the future of him in the DC universe yet, but he trusts that James Gunn has a plan, and whatever that plan, if it includes him or not, he's going to support it. So,
well, absolutely, yeah. And I trust James Gunn. He is a great storyteller, and he understands comic book media, as well as I think he understands world building, and I think he needs to build a new world around, get away from the Snyderverse, and start a new world building.
Well, James Gunn did also come out and he wanted to address, obviously there's been a lot of negative press around some of the changes they're making and really tearing down this Snyderverse. And James Gunn came out and said, look, we're not going to respond to negative media, we're doing what we feel is best. We are now stewards of these characters that have been around for over 85 years, right? And that's our job. And we're painting a new picture for DC that really embraces these characters and takes them to a place that has been so far very disconnected. So he addressed some of those comments. And then we also did just recently, I believe it was yesterday, The Rock came out and confirmed that his version of Black Adam will not be a part of the future of DC.
Yeah, so
they will not be making a Black Adam 2, and he will not be part of the
Not
DC.
in the near future, that's for sure.
Yeah. So all that stuff is great. You and I think that it does need a fresh reboot. A lot of uncertainty. We know they're coming out with the movies they have on the slate next year, including Shazam, The Flash, Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2, but really, I don't think any of those are going to really fit into the future plans of DC. It's really just kind of getting back some of the money that they've put into those properties so far.
Again, my opinion is a hard reboot of DC and DC Studios is what needs to happen. Start with younger versions of these characters, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash for sure. We know Ezra Miller will not be back. He's an absolute disaster, so he will not be back. So let's hope that James Gunn, who we trust, is going to build in the future what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, so we'll jump into, we'll put that one to bed, but I think what we need to do for DC's future is just trust in what they're doing, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
We did have a good confirmation from Hugh Jackman on some of the plot details behind the Deadpool 3 movie. He came out on social media and talked about how excited he was about the plot and what was going on with what he knows. He really likened it to 48 Hours. He said the first time I read the script, it reminded me of Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy in 48 Hours.
Well, that's a good sign.
I know, kind of a buddy cop crime kind of thing. We know he did also confirm that the TVA that we saw in the Loki series is going to be part of Deadpool 3. So Hugh Jackman's coming out. You know, obviously Kevin Feige probably has some snipers coming after Hugh Jackman here, making some statements publicly, but he's really excited for this project.
He's just hyping up the show. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, hyping up the show.
That's why I believe the same thing. So you gave this to me the other day. Industry insiders reported on some end credit scenes for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right?
These are super rumor mill, but yeah. It looks like we're going to get 2 end credit scenes in Ant-Man Quantumania. So the Ant-Man movie will have 2 end credit scenes, and the rumor has it we're going to be introduced to the Fantastic Four in one of those end credit scenes.
That was spectacular.
That would be
news. And I would assume that the second end credit scene is going to set up what's coming in the future of the Avengers franchise.
Agreed.
Right, whether it's setting up the Thunderbolts or Captain America 4 or the new Avengers movies that are going to be featuring the Kane character. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get some setup there as well. But the Fantastic Four reveal at the end credits scene would be huge. And my first reaction to you was, I hope to God Marvel comes out and makes an official casting announcement before that scene is shown in that movie, because it will be leaked. It will be leaked. You and I know that whether it's the industry insiders that go see the movie early or whatever, they're going to leak it. So I'd rather Marvel come out with an official announcement about casting so that when we see that end credit scene. Now, here's what I'll tell you. If we do get an official casting announcement before Ant-Man and Wasp comes out in February, you and I both know that this end credit scene is happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a good sign.
It'll definitely happen. I'm almost positive we'll get an end credit scene for Thunderbolts, and I'm really fingers crossed for Fantastic Four.
That would be so amazing.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right, well, let's jump into our topic of the week this week, sponsored by our friends over at Studio GG Studios.
Studio GG Studios, home of the man band, Corn on the Cob. Shout out to G Studios, Studio G. Let's go.
So for our topic of the week for our 100th episode, we're going to do a year review, talk about some of the things that we really enjoyed in 2022, some of the things that kind of missed the mark a little bit. We'll kind of talk through some of that, and then we'll talk about what we're looking forward to in 2023.
Yeah, missed the mark big time.
And then we'll talk about some things that we're kind of concerned about in 2023. So,
absolutely.
First and foremost, in 2022, earlier this year, we started the year off with kind of a big surprise, I think, for both of us, and that was the Peacemaker series on HBO Max.
Yeah.
James Gunn's pet project. After the Suicide Squad movie that he did, he took a character from that movie and decided to give him his own series, and it was spectacular.
Yeah, one of my favorite series was the Peacemaker series. I thought it was brilliantly written and a great storyline. Yeah, I know Greg liked it.
Yeah, to take that character that was, I think an important character, obviously, in his movie, but to give him his own show and kind of give us more development behind that character, some of his history, I think was awesome. So the Peacemaker series was a home run from my perspective, and I believe that character and a lot of James Gunn's characters will have a future in the DC universe.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. Now, I know there's a lot of fear that James Gunn is going to play favorites and put his wife, who was Agent Hardcore, right, in the Peacemaker series, in everything. Like, people are saying that she's going to be Wonder Woman. I think she stays in the roles that she's known for, and Peacemaker obviously is James Gunn's baby, so I don't see him getting rid of that. But I also don't hear any hype about Peacemaker moving forward, so who knows?
Yeah, and we know that he does, I wouldn't say he plays favorites, but he does like working with the same actors a lot.
Yeah,
we've seen these actors be in multiple series. You see actors in his Guardians of the Galaxy series show up in the Peacemaker series. You see actors that were in Guardians of the Galaxy show up in the Suicide Squad movie. So we know he likes working with these people that are familiar to him. So I would not be surprised if that does happen. But as far as playing favorites of making his wife Wonder Woman things, that's kind of like a stretch.
Right. Agreed.
I think he's going to do what is best for the franchise, that's for sure. So the other thing that was a big surprise, I think, for both of us, and I know you were so excited about this, was the Batman. Robert Pattinson's version of Batman, Matt Reeves reimagining of the Batman franchise, not connected to the Snyderverse whatsoever, just its own independent movie. I will say, pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, as a standalone Batman movie, I think it lived up to the hype and expectations. Was as good as The Dark Knight and that trilogy. I would say it's on par. I mean, you know how I feel about that.
It's yet to be seen how good it would be compared to that trilogy. I mean, what we got with the previous trilogy was fantastic, and I think we got to give Matt Reeves some time because he's doing some really good thing here too, right? He's coming out with a series based on the Penguin character. He's coming out with a series on HBO Max in regards to some other franchise kind of pieces for the Batman series. So I think we'll give Matt Reeves some credit here, but I think that Robert Pattinson did such a great job playing that character, and the dark tone that movie had was just really cool.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think the tone was excellent, and hopefully, and there's rumors that Robert Pattinson and the Batman will be in the future plans for James Gunn and Peter Safran moving forward with DC Studios. So whether or not they keep it as a standalone or they weave that into the Gunverse, that's what I call it, the Gunverse. Whether they weave that into the Gunverse is yet to be seen, but that'll be exciting. But yes, that was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, absolutely. Another big highlight for you and me was something we had been looking forward to when it was first announced, and that was the Moon Knight series on Disney+.
Brilliant.
Oh, Oscar Isaac really hit it out of the park with the way that he portrayed the characters. And I say characters because he did suffer from multiple personality disorder. So that whole series was just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really enjoyed it. And getting that character in the MCU, I think is important for a lot of things that they may be doing going forward, but you and I both enjoyed that a lot. We enjoyed reviewing it every week.
Yeah, that was a special show. And Oscar Isaac, who played Moon Knight, he didn't win any awards for it. I think he did win some kind of award for it, obscure award. But I thought it was absolutely a People's Choice or an Emmy Award-winning performance. He was absolutely brilliant, playing a character that had identity disorder, and he played that perfect. I mean, absolutely brilliant. So,
he did a great job.
I thought he did a great job.
Another big highlight for us, The Boys Season 3. I mean, this series,
Speaking of The Boys, check out that sweater.
I mean,
look at that. The 7 sweater from the Professor. Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
But The Boys series was off the charts good. I mean, it keeps delivering. The first 2 seasons were awesome.
Anybody out there watching The Boys? Anybody watching The Boys? Yeah. It's a great show. If you're not watching it, please watch. If you're not watching it, please watch.
Amazon Prime really hit a home run with this franchise, and it is one of the most gory, disgusting, disturbing, kind of versions of a superhero franchise, and just the mental challenges that each of them go through. It really is, I think, a very realistic version of a superhero franchise where people are, portraying somebody who's good, who really isn't good. Man, and remember Hero-gasm? I mean, that episode was just
straight from the comics too. So there's a show that follows the comics. That is definitely one of them.
Well, that's a home run.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to their offshoot too, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about that and stuff we're looking forward to next year. And then finally, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I think this was a movie that we were all looking forward to for a lot of different reasons. One, we wanted to see what they were going to do with the character of Black Panther, after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, what they were going to do as far as handing the mantle over, how Ryan Coogler was going to handle that whole situation moving forward. And I know it was one of your favorite movies from Marvel.
Yeah.
I didn't put it up there as high, but I thought it was very well done. And I think it's a franchise I think is important for the future of Marvel.
The best thing about Black Panther Wakanda Forever was the introduction of Namor. I mean, they basically built a blueprint on how to introduce a villain or an anti-hero, something that Black Adam missed the mark on big time. But the introduction of Namor and the way they introduced him was absolutely brilliant. One of my most favorite characters.
And the world building ended around that.
The world building was outstanding.
Making him of Mayan and Aztec descent.
An underwater mine as brilliant.
It was really
fantastic.
Just smartly done.
Fantastic.
So that was, I think, a really big hit for us this year, and we're really happy with that. So let's talk about some of the things that really kind of missed a little bit. The first Marvel movie we got of the year, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I think was good, but it really didn't live up to the level of a good movie that we're looking forward to from Marvel. I mean, we think it kind of missed a little bit. I mean, the story was a little disjointed. I say demonization of Wanda and making her the villain of the movie kind of missed a little bit to me. I was expecting maybe a bigger bad person in the movie. It was good. I think the biggest probably surprise, or the thing that most people look forward to the most, was the introduction of this alternate version of the Illuminati. We got to see John Krasinski's Mr. Fantastic. We got to see Captain Carter. I thought that was like something that was a big part of that movie, but the movie in itself, like the whole, I watched it several times now. It's just okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I did like it a lot. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. The Illuminati almost was like thrown in there as fanfare that I really didn't think really needed to be in there. I thought the movie was strong enough as Wanda as the protagonist. I think it definitely would have stood on its own without the Illuminati. But hey, anytime I could see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, that was cool.
That was cool. So but I think it wasn't what we were expecting from Marvel.
What else do you didn't hit the Marvel?
Well, She-Hulk. I think we reviewed the series at length. We reviewed every episode that came out, and while I think Tatiana Maslany played a very good Jennifer Walter, and I think the She-Hulk character is extremely important to the MCU, and I think one that I'm happy to now see be part of the MCU. The series itself was, I'd say, 3 really good episodes with a bunch of filler episodes.
I agree.
And they really used this character to kind of further some of the things that they're going to be doing with the Hulk character going forward, and Bruce Banner. So, I mean, I think that was maybe some of the reasons.
And for She-Hulk, I think you're being generous. I think it was 2 episodes that were pretty good, and I thought the rest of it was kind of filler.
Yeah.
I do think this would have been better as a special edition or special presentation with Disney Plus to introduce the character so they could use her further. I love the character. I love the actress. But the story was weak. I did like some of the characters that they brought into She-Hulk, but they weren't utilized enough for me to really glob onto those or any character development moving forward. So
you and I talked about this. I think one of the other pleasant surprises we got this year was the Werewolf by Night Halloween special, which was a special presentation. And had they done that for the She-Hulk series, just give us an hour and a half of She-Hulk and paint a picture of the character, give her some backstory, do a very short kind of episode. I think that would have been a much better way to introduce that character.
Agreed.
Yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder, another one we kind of felt was okay. I mean, I think the plot of the movie was a little bit weird. I think you and I've talked about this. Thor the God Butcher could have been such a huge better villain, and the way that they used him in that movie, it really didn't make it seem like it was that big a deal.
I thought Christian Bale knocked it out of the park before the God Butcher. I really did. The rest of the movie was really suspect and did not live up to expectations.
Yeah.
They tried the same old funny comedic, and I think I'm getting over Thor being funny and a comic relief type of character. I need him to be the god that he is. I need him to be the badass that he is, and come out and kick ass, kind of like the Hulk. They kind of downplayed the Hulk still. He's always getting his ass kicked. Well, no, the Hulk doesn't get his ass kicked.
I think this movie suffered from something that we've seen a lot of sequels suffer from. is they are very successful in the first movie, and they try to replicate that success in the next movie. And when Ragnarok came out, Taika Waititi hit a home run with Ragnarok, and it was so well received, so well versus the other four movies, so lauded at how good it was that they tried to redo Ragnarok, and I think that was a big mistake.
Didn't make sense.
No, it didn't make sense. Another one that kind of missed a little bit was Morbius. You and I were kind of looking forward to this movie. Jared Leto, great actor, playing a really kind of crazy character. You and I think like this movie more than, I'll say, the general audience.
No question. There's no question we liked it more than everyone.
Yeah, but again, I think they missed an opportunity to introduce a pretty cool character into this.
And also, it's notable. Let's mention about Morbius is that the special effects were off the charts.
Oh, they were great.
I mean, they were great. The way they portrayed Morbius was excellent. The way he looked was comic book accurate and perfect. I really enjoyed that. The story was weak again.
Yeah.
And I think on this list you have Black Adam as well. I think Morbius and Black Adam. I like Black Adam more than Morbius. But still, same problem with both of them.
Yeah,
Weak stories, great special effects. The fight scenes of Black Adam were
forget that Morbius was delayed for more than a year because of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they did reinvest some money into the
COVID
special
really
effects.
screwed everything up.
Yeah, but they did reinvest some of that time back into special effects, and we saw that in the later trailers and the later cut of the movie. So, but yeah, I mean, who knows what they're going to do with this character? And the end credit scene, for me, ruined this movie. We talked about this when we reviewed that movie.
Yeah,
Had we not seen that end credit scene, we would have been okay.
I think if the majority of the people that saw Morbius did not see the end credit scene, they would have liked the movie way better than what they did. That end credit scene was absolutely abysmal, horrible.
It was a
Whoever
pathetic
suggested
attempt
that
by Sony
should be
to
fired immediately.
pathetic attempt by Sony to make this movie bigger than it was, and it was really bad.
Absolutely.
And you just mentioned Black Adam, another one that kind of missed for us. You know, look, The Rock has been hyping up this character and what this character was going to mean to the future of DC for a long time. And the fight scenes in this movie were great. The special effects were great. Some of the characters, like Hawkman, fantastic. Dr. Fate, fantastic. My son just watched the movie for the first time a couple weeks ago. He said Cyclone and
Adam
Smasher didn't even need to be in the movie. They didn't need to be in the movie at all. And I agree. I think they missed an opportunity, and I think once the DC universe was going to be redone, like the compelling argument about Black Adam in the future and how it's going to change DC just kind of went out the wayside.
The Rock is the perfect Black Adam. He was born to play Black Adam. He's absolutely perfect. The problem with The Rock is that he always has to come across as the good guy. He always has to have a character arc where he ends up being likable. And Black Adam is not likable. They should have stuck to the comic books where Black Adam is a bad dude. He does good things sometimes when it benefits himself, but he's not a good dude. And I think they switched that around. It was a weak story. Great special effects, great fight scenes, but a weak story.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously there's no future for that character now, so that tells you all
well,
you need to know.
At least in the near future.
Well, yeah, and The Rock came out and wanted to defend the movie and say it was profitable, it made money once you factor in merchandising and all kinds of other stuff. Was trying to defend the lack of box office success of the movie. Look, it just didn't do well, and there's really no reason for them to continue to reinvest in a product that really didn't have a good return. So,
absolutely.
And let's talk about the worst of 2022.
Do we really have to talk about that?
We have to. Well, we talk about it every week whether we liked it or not. So yeah, we have to.
Miss Marvel was a major miss for Disney Plus and Marvel. I think it was a huge miss. I know a lot of people have a high ranking up on their list of favorites, but I'm sorry. Those people that do that are feeding into the novelty that it was so different and that it was just like Spider-Man with a high school kid that gains powers and comes to grips with these powers. I think I missed them all. And I'm sorry to say this, but it was probably the worst show presentation that Marvel had in 2022.
Without question, I think it was. And I think they, again, suffered from way too many episodes. I think that they could have condensed this into fewer episodes and told the story they wanted to tell and introduced this character very differently. But we spent way too much time focusing on her culture and her homeland, and it really didn't feed into the character arc nor her powers or anything like that. And you and I talked about this. There were episodes where she used her powers for like 10 seconds in the entire episode.
Yeah, one episode.
It's like, this is supposed to be a superhero show.
Changed her power set. I mean, the whole thing. You know, these guys, the guys that wrote Miss Marvel were supposed to be.
They wrote the background.
They wrote the background movie, and that got canned because the story. There was other issues they wanted to write off. Warner Brothers wanted to write off. But there were other issues with that movie, and I think a lot of it was the story. It was weak story.
And I think that this series suffered from a weak story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big time. So, look,
let's not talk about Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
so bad.
we review these shows.
Let's move on.
Like Monaco. That was our take on this. So let's talk about what we're looking forward to in 2023. And I think there's a lot.
Let's get the audience's opinion on what they're looking forward to, if they know.
Okay,
guys,
if they can hear us.
What are you guys looking forward to in 2023? Superhero movies, Marvel.
I heard Kit Harington.
Kit Harington. Okay, he's the Black Knight. He was in Eternals as the Black Knight. You want to see him in 2023? Kit Harington, is that number one? What other movies you guys looking forward to? Any other movies? Shows. We got Ant-Man, Quantumania. Oh, here we go. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. There it is. A bunch of boys. Daredevil.
That's the next year.
Yeah, next year, Daredevil 24.
He will be back this year, though, so that he will be back. We'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
Tony Stark Resurrection.
Tony Stark Resurrection.
Listen, Tony Stark, our opinion is Tony Stark will be resurrected as an AI system in Ironheart. So if you want to see Tony Stark again,
or in
Iron War, check out Ironheart. He could be an AI system in AI. Daredevil's going to be coming out in 2024. That's a little later. You got to wait for that.
Not necessarily. He will be back this year.
He will be back. They'll interject him in a lot of shows. Absolutely.
Yeah, so he will be back. So let's talk about some of the things that we know are coming. First, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in February. Look, the trailer for this movie was a home run. Yeah. The introduction of Kang as a real villain, and the villain that Marvel is banking on for this phase of Marvel. Really, they're calling the multiverse phase. Introducing Kang the Conqueror in this movie as a real villain is important to the future of Marvel, and everybody is looking forward to this. Peyton Reed, the director, when he went to Kevin Feige, he said, look, the first two movies I did were kind of like what you call palate cleansers, right?
Yeah.
So the first Ant-Man came out after Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War, and they were really kind of palate cleansers for the audience of just like, hey, we've had these big dramatic movies, let's cleanse the palate a little bit. And Peyton Reed said, I want to make a huge Marvel movie, and I think he's been given license to do that with Quantumania, and what the treatment of Kang in this movie is going to pay dividends way down the road for the industry.
You're right, Professor. Absolutely. I think this movie is going to be bigger than what people think it's going to be, and it's going to definitely set the tone for the next 3 or 4 years with Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really looking forward to that movie. That comes out in February. We're excited to see that right around the corner. We are getting another season of What If. This has been done, and they're just kind of like waiting to release it. We believe we're going to get this very early in the year. What If Season 2? And look, we really enjoyed that, and I would call that a palate cleanser series, right?
Yeah.
The first one really was, hey, there's really nothing else going on. Let's put something on Disney Plus that people can kind of consume. And I'm looking forward to what they're doing with it. I think the concept of taking these characters that we know and having these actors that we know come back and portray these characters in an animated series and building stories that may or may not have ever had.
May or may not be attached.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea, but we're going to get that early in the year. I do think we'll get that probably in the February-March timeframe. So
the next one on your list is something I'm really looking for.
Yeah, Secret Invasion. I mean, the trailer they dropped for this at Disney Plus a day was off the charts good. Samuel Jackson has played Nick Fury so well, and for him to get his own series, really focusing on enormous comic book run called Secret Invasion, where the Skrulls invaded Earth and were playing some pretty major, not only superheroes, but also some political characters. I think this is going to be I think it's going to have some huge repercussions on the future of Marvel. Some things that we may have believed were true for a long time may not be true anymore. I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a great one. I'm really looking forward to that too.
And then we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out in May.
Volume 3.
So this is going to be the final chapter for this version of the Guardians. James Gunn's final movie for Marvel. Again, the trailer just came out a couple weeks ago. Wow, when we saw the trailer, really cool. And we believe a lot of big characters are not going to make it through the end of this movie.
We're going to lose a lot of characters in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We're going to lose a lot of main characters. I think James Gunn is going to shut down Guardians for a long time. He's obviously moving on to DC. So I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will definitely be his coup d'etat. It'll be a nice send-off, and he's going to get rid of a lot of characters.
And the introduction of Adam Warlock to the MCU is going to be a big part of that movie.
Can't wait.
So that's going to be great. And then we've got Loki Season 2, and we've seen an initial trailer for this, and we've seen some other snippets that Marvel's dropped with some promotional footage for Hulu Plus and Disney Plus and things like that. We are really looking forward to this, and we do believe Kang will be part of this as well.
Absolutely.
And we now know, based on some of the leaks out there, that the TVA is going to be playing a huge role in Deadpool 3. So I want to see what they're doing with the TVA and the Loki character in Loki Season 2 in regards to how that's going to play a part in this multiverse saga.
Yeah, I think you need to watch Loki 2 in order to lead into Deadpool 3. It's going to be a huge part of it.
Wouldn't it be great if we had a post-credit scene at the end of that series?
We know Owen Wilson is in Deadpool 3.
Right.
And he's a big part of Loki too.
Yeah. So that's going to be awesome. And then I believe you and I are very looking forward to the Blue Beetle movie that DC's coming out with in the summer. Look, from my perspective, a very beloved character to me. I thought this was a character that got great screen time in some of the Titans movies and Teen Titans animated movies that DC did. Got some major screen time in the Injustice series on HBO Max and previously Netflix. I love the Blue Beetle character, and some of the behind-the-scenes snapshots we've gotten from filming of the costume and everything else look spectacular.
Yeah, I mean the costume that the Blue Beetle is going to have is going to be spectacular.
And the fact that they can introduce this character and still fit it into the future of DC because there's no ties to anything else that's going on.
They've completely casted all the Mexican actors, Mexican American, and the Hispanic community has rallied behind the filming of this movie. They petitioned for it not to be cut, and James Gunn was absolutely, we're not cutting this. This movie is going to be awesome. So Blue Beetle will be an absolute
it's the one DC thing I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too.
So, and then of course we have another season of The Boys coming out this year, as well as they dropped a teaser trailer for a new offshoot series that they're doing of kind of the School for Gifted Youngsters, kind of what's it called? Remember the name?
It's kind of like a Hunger Games movie. They have an academy. Gen V they're calling them. Gen V they're calling them because they've been injected with the superpower serum, and they go to this university or this academy to hone their superpowers, and they end up getting put in these situations.
We have to hunt each other.
It's gonna be mayhem.
Yeah, I think and again, with everything that Amazon's done around the Boys franchise has been awesome. So I think this is going to be really cool.
Amazon's been hitting some home runs in it.
So here's some things I think we're concerned about for 2023.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, for me, is the Marvels movie coming out in July, and we know now that this is going to be the last major motion picture for Marvel for about a year. So we're going to have about a year gap between this movie coming out in July and the next movie that's supposed to come out the following May. You know, I have some major concerns about this. Number one, I think the Carol Danvers, Brie Larson version of Captain Marvel is probably one of the characters that's least liked currently in Marvel. Just because she's a little divisive.
As far as concerned, it's a tough character.
I don't think she has a huge following, but there's some concerns. the Monica Rambeau version that we got in the WandaVision series.
No character building. We don't have any character arc for that, any start. It's going to be tough to introduce her into a movie and just take off.
It's going to be strange. And then of course, Ms. Marvel being in it is another big question mark. I've got some massive questions about this movie, the plot, the storyline, how they're going to fit into what's going on in the MCU. Yeah, big questions about this one.
I think the only way this movie works is if they tie it into what's going to happen in the future, and they make this movie a catalyst for Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, the Avengers Kang Dynasty,
or maybe a follow-up to Secret Invasion. This could be something that, there's some things that happen in Secret Invasion that fall into this movie. So.
Or help bring Namor into this as them trying to, attack the Vibranium, Telecon.
Who knows?
It needs help.
Big questions. And you and I have some big concerns also about the Echo series. Now, this is where we're going to see Daredevil in 2023 is in Echo. So
if Echo even launches, if Echo's even on.
So there are concerns that this might be shelved.
It might be shelved.
They're talking about, instead of making it like an 8 to 10 episode series, we're going to condense it into a special presentation or maybe a couple of episodes.
Right.
There's a lot of question marks now about this series. I am looking forward to seeing Charlie Cox back as Daredevil. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the screen again, but there's some big question marks about this, and we know that this is the reintroduction of Kingpin after the Hawkeye series with Vincent D'Onofrio, so who knows where this is going, but lots of question marks.
Yeah, the only thing that's keeping this afloat is Daredevil, and we know Daredevil Born Again is coming up. I think they're going to use this to springboard into that, hopefully.
Well, and probably the biggest question mark in 2023 is what the heck is going to go on with the Flash movie.
I mean, the Flash movie's a disaster.
Yeah, it's scheduled to come out in June. We know Ezra Miller has zero future with DC.
Yeah.
He would have had zero future regardless of whether James Gunn came in and took over. But his future in the franchise is over after this movie. So what are they going to use this movie for? Are they just trying to recoup some of the money they've invested in the project? But again, there's all kinds of great. We know that Ben Affleck did a scene for this movie, and he's going to be gone, I'm sure. We know that Michael Keaton is in this movie, and who knows what they're doing with him. I mean, this is just massive question marks all over the place about this movie.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where James Gunn takes the Flash. He's such a pivotal character and such a well-loved character that we really need to know where he's going. That's a huge question.
Absolutely, but huge questions about that movie. The next one,
Shazam.
this movie comes out very early in the year, coming out in March. Look, we've got trailers for this. This movie's been ready to go. It was supposed to come out this holiday season, but was pushed, frankly, because it didn't want to fight with Avatar for a share of the screen and the box office. So it was pushed to March. This movie is going forward and being released, but again, they kind of fit this character into the Snyderverse to some extent. Now, it doesn't mean they can't fix that or change that, but there's a lot of question marks about the future.
Huge question mark.
But I mean, I'll see.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Shazam to me is a very beloved character. I love Billy Batson. I love the Shazam character.
The first movie was great.
It was, and I was really looking forward to this movie to see where they were going with this. And I think the natural. I think what we were hoping for was eventually the Shazam family had to fight Black Adam, and well, now that's not going to happen. So who knows where that's going to go. The next one that's going to come out later in the year is Ironheart. I've got huge question marks about this one. How about you?
I don't. I think Ironheart is going to be the shining light for Disney Plus at that time. I don't feel. I really like Riri Wilson and her portrayal of Ironheart. I think the way they set it up in Wakanda Forever, a little biased because I love that movie, but I think Ironheart is going to be a shining light at that time.
Some of the things that just concern me is the Hood as a main villain in the movie,
and
Mephisto coming into this movie. I mean, how are they going to fit that into Ironheart? It's just a lot of question marks.
It seems like a shit show now, but I think it'll all come together.
All right, well, we'll see what. I mean, again, trusting Kevin Feige, we've seen him make some misses, so I'm concerned. And then obviously, the last movie that will be coming out next year, Aquaman 2.
Wow, Aquaman 2, Jason Momoa.
We believe that this is Jason Momoa's final movie. This movie
this is it, yeah.
Was supposed to come out this year, around this time, was delayed an entire year. A lot of it due to the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial, all the turmoil that she's been going through, and so we see here that they've completely written her character out of the movie, or potentially are recasting the character. Who knows?
The amount of reshoots from this movie are astonishing.
But I mean, and again, we believe this is not going to fit into James Gunn's future plans. As a matter of fact, we've been told that Jason Momoa is going to be coming back into the DC universe as a version of Lobo, which he would be a perfect Lobo. People have been fan casting him as Lobo before he was cast as Aquaman.
We think Jason Momoa will move from Aquaman to Lobo, and that will be moving forward in James Gunn's universe. But Aquaman is questionable. The amount of reshoots, again, questions the story on this and how coherent it's going to be. With the Amber Heard disaster with Johnny Depp, I think it's going to be very, very unusual.
But one of the things that you and I look so much forward to for the movie franchises that we watch is that they fit into a larger story, right? So these movies are supposed to fit into something bigger, and we know now that this movie will not fit into anything bigger, that it doesn't have a future after this movie, so it's just a standalone project at this point in time. So that's one of the things that makes it kind of a big question mark for me.
Yeah, so exciting stuff in 2023. We're going to be keeping the podcast going. It might not be weekly. We're going to try to continue with the pace that we've been going. But thank you so much, Professor.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that came out today. We really appreciate it.
Wow, what a crowd. There's got to be like 50 people here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for coming out from SuperTalk. Thank you so much. Hey, a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor. Let's ring the bell. School's over.
All right, well, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk. To get in touch with us on social media, hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com or @supertalkpod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, everyone.
And we're out. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, anybody. We've got a raffle now. We're going to be raffling some prizes.
Absolutely. We're going to be raffling some prizes off. If you haven't got a coupon ticket, if you haven't got a ticket, see my daughter, Gabrielle. She's got tickets. Please grab a ticket. We're going to be raffling off some stuff in 1 minute. 1 minute, we're going to be giving away some really cool prizes. Yes. I have to turn that. Let me go.
Everyone likes to skate. Haters gonna hate. And I know you can't wait to see the Black Viper. Round and round she goes. Hardly no one knows.